All right. Welcome, everybody, to our fifth monthly Friends of the Cumbres Toltec meeting. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We've got several people on the call here. I'm going to introduce first Tom Stewart, who's a member of the Friends and who's going to be our interviewer today. And we have Robert Stefanski, who is the Cumbres Toltec Scenic Railroad Sales and Marketing Manager. And we have Billy Elbrock, who is been on the commission since 2011 and was also trustee and mayor of the village of Shama. And today we're going to talk about the plans for 2026 for the railroad. I want to remind everybody that there's an option to ask questions. The chat is up at the top. Please do ask questions. Kathleen Walser is also here, and she's going to help us kind of filter through, make sure that everybody knows that there's a question available and make sure that it gets asked. So, Tom, if you want to take it away.
All right. Again, thank y'all for showing up. Greatly appreciate it. We have first thing here. Robert, would you like to talk about this red, white, blue thing on the screen?
Yeah, well, hi, everyone. It's nice to see you or virtually meet everyone. Yeah, this is the custom paint job of our Locomotive 114. We are celebrating, as you all know, America 250 years of American history. We are also honoring the states of Colorado and New Mexico being co-owned by the states jointly. We felt it was a great honor to kind of just, honor the two states and celebrate Colorado 150 as well. So we are, super excited about the celebration for the year and what our plans are. And I think the paint job turned out really well, and hopefully everyone enjoys it, and hopefully everyone can come out and join us in the celebration.
Great. Thank you, Robert. Let's just go ahead since you started, and Billy, we'll get to you in just a second. Robert, you're new to the railroad. People that have been around for decades don't necessarily know you. Can you talk a little bit about your background and where you live and how you bumped into us, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so kind of start where I'm from. I was originally born in Phoenix, Arizona, moved to Colorado at an early age, and kind of grew up in Colorado since about 1985. Grew up in the Denver area, and in about 2022, I moved here to the San Luis Valley, building an off-grid homestead. So that's a little bit about my background, where I live. Live a little bit south of San Luis, about 20 miles, which is about 40 minutes from Encinitas. As far as my work history, I've been in marketing communications for almost 13 years now, and it's kind of worked in a variety of different industries, variety of different experiences and environments. But I've worked for nonprofit organizations, membership organizations. I've worked for low-income property housing companies, worked for business-to-business companies. So, my wheelhouse is driving growth, driving visibility, growing revenue, growing engagement between customers and our audiences, and also bringing content development and kind of like a multi-channel strategy or experience. So I have a lot of experience in website management, email marketing, digital marketing. So just that combination, of experiences kind of brought me here to the Cumbres Toltec. New to the railroad, about 6 months now. It's been a wonderful experience so far. Kind of new to the rail and tourism industry, so very looking forward to learning as I go. But got some solid fundamental marketing skills that's helping us drive growth and visibility currently. So really excited to kind of be on board. How I found the railroad was, looking for a better job opportunity. Before I was working fully remotely up here in my home, and was looking for a better opportunity. Happened to find this position, was the perfect fit for me. I'm super into history, super into authenticity, and with what they were looking for in terms of marketing and creative skills combined, kind of seemed like a perfect fit for me. So I was really excited to join the railroad. Glad they took a chance on me, and it's been really great getting to know everyone, meeting lots of people in the community, lots of people in Shama and Encinitas, as well as the friends. So that's looking forward to the future.
It's really exciting for me looking at your digital media background, right? I mean, that's something that the railroad is working towards and has been working towards it for a while, but it's so pervasive now. If we want to attract lots and lots of random tourists as opposed to just rail fans, have to do that. And so we're really looking forward to the things that you and Eric Mason as the president are putting together. Billy, what about you? Talk about where you're from and how you bumped into the railroad and got to where you are today.
Well, I was born and raised in Silver City, raised down in Animas, New Mexico. It's right on the Arizona-New Mexico border. We own about 20 sections down there, 20 square miles, 12,000 acres, run about 300 head of mother cows. Sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. It's not enough to support two families. So my brother runs the ranch, and I do other things.
There you
And
go.
he does other things too. The ranch is more of a hobby. More of a hobby for him.
300 cows sounds like you said a lot, but it's not a living.
It's not a living. No, it's not a living. And because of the drought, we're down to about 80 head right now.
Oh my, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just couldn't afford to buy feed for them, and couldn't afford to sell them either. Never replace them. But
No, everybody in the country is dealing with that. Obviously, meat prices are wildly out of control, but ranchers aren't seeing that money. So, tell us a little bit about work. About you're not on the ranch. What did you do for a living?
Well, I went to work for a copper smelter, working in a power plant in 1970, and I stuck with my power plant career up until December 31st of last year, 2025. Worked for the copper company for about 10 years, then went to work for the government and worked for the government the rest of the time, the Bureau of Reclamation. I've been all over from Billings, Montana to Palisades, Idaho, Flaming Gorge, Utah, Hoover Dam, Alamosa, Colorado, and ended my career at Elephant Butte Dam.
So there is a reclamation center office in Chama. Can you for the peeps, can you reflect what they do there? A little different than you did, obviously, but
Yeah, a little different. They move water. There is a pipeline 20 miles long that brings water from the other side of the divide over by Pagosa Springs and dumps it into Heron Lake.
right.
So that is called the San Juan Chama water, and that's their main function is the diversion dams and that tunnel, operating and maintaining it, as well as El Vado Dam. They operate and maintain El Vado and Heron Dam. That's their biggest function, I guess, is water movement, keeping the water moving.
If you look on a map, is that like the Azotea Tunnel? Is that what the?
Yes, it's the Azotea Tunnel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So work for the reclamation Elephant Butte. That's a long way from Chama.
Yeah,
Talk about
every place I worked except in the last 30 years, every place I've worked, I literally commuted from here, from Chama. I would leave home on Sunday and come back on Thursday night. Even at Flaming Gorge, 8 years, 1,000 miles a week, back and forth to work.
Yeah.
We had the restaurant and Venus Diner, and couldn't get away from it. So I literally drove back and forth for those many years.
So okay, so you've been in Chama for a long time.
35 years I've been in Chama.
Wow.
Fell in love with the railroad. My Fina's aunt used to work as a ticket agent, and so we could get tickets cheap, and they were cheap back then. And 1992 and 3, and rode the train a lot. And then in 2010, I was approached by Elmer Salazar, and he asked me with the company that they had formed to be there. They were working on getting liquor on the train, and I worked for them at that time as their liquor person, inventory, stocking, ordering, stuff like that. Then I had to let that job go. I became a commissioner in 2011. I was approached by Scott Fleury, who had the radio station, and said,
Sure.
they need a commissioner. the railroad for our area or from New Mexico, and wondering if you're interested. And I said, well, I don't know, give me the paperwork. So he did. I filled out the paperwork, all except one part. I needed one part to complete it. I sent everything in. I still hadn't decided. Randy Randall, who was a commissioner at that time, came to me and said, come on, Billy, join up with us. It won't take much of your time. Famous last words.
Yeah.
So I sent in the final paperwork, and here I am.
There you go. And so you've been on the commission since 2011 or 12 or?
Yeah, I think August 10th of 2011, I think, something like that.
So for the folks that don't know, and you know, we don't have a huge number on here tonight, but I know all these folks are from out of town. Can you talk about the relationship between the commission and the railroad? I mean, for instance, if Robert comes up with a crazy marketing idea, does the commission know or care? Can you go through that?
We have our operating company, which is the Cumbres Toltec Operating Company, which is CTO is what we call it. They are the day-to-day operators of the railroad. We are here for advisement and, of course, the legislature to get money to run the railroad. We do not get into the day-to-day operations. We are kept aware of what's going on, but if he had an idea and we didn't like it, that idea could still go through because we're not here to run the day-to-day operation.
There you go. So I think that's one of the challenges people have is understanding the relationship. You've got the CTO that makes the trains go. You've got the commission that works with the two state governments and the Forest Service and the Park Service and the Bureau of Reclamation and the BLM and all those government agencies. And then there's the Friends, right? And you know, Greg and I are here representing the Friends along with Kathy and in the background. Can you explain for Robert how the Friends came to be and how they fit into the picture of the CTO and the commission?
I don't know what we would do without the Friends. They have been just fantastic to work with. They came about long before my time. They were present before I got here. I just stepped into supporting them and working with them, and it's just a fantastic relationship.
That's good. I think for Robert, and you know, trying to, for instance, I'm on the trains regularly, right, and I'm there just to babysit passengers and catch kids that are running wild and whatever comes up, along with really just communicating about what they're seeing and the history and things. The Colorado 150, for instance, this year, or we had the roundup here of a good number, you know, during COVID, early COVID. Those special events, the Friends do have a place to play there, but it's really Robert or the commission or somebody else at the CTO will ask us for help. Robert, can you talk a little bit about Colorado 150 and then July 4th, whatever you know about that, and what's going to go on?
Yeah, so the Colorado 150 event is called the Centennial State Limited. And it's running through 3 days. It's the weekend of July 31st through August 2nd. We will be having multiple runs. It's technically two runs on Friday, July 31st, and Sunday, August 2nd. The departure is 11 a.m. It's going from Manzanito to Bighorn and back. Saturday is our kind of like the big day. It's the day that Colorado became a state, the state of Colorado. So we are running 11 a.m. departure and Manzanito to Osier Station and back with lunch. We do plan to run a double header on that day, the 168 and 463. And really it's just a celebration of the region, the railroad, the state, and America. And, you know, the power of the American West, you know, the teamwork and just the history of what, you know, the railroad had, the impact the railroad has had on the local communities historically, and kind of where we see the, you know, the future of the railroad and the communities. We are planning for people who do buy tickets, we do have like a commemorative merchandise bundle. So people are going to be getting commemorative challenge coin. They're going to be getting a coffee mug and a press pass. We've got a cool press pass with a lanyard on it that they can wear. And it's got like a Colorado flag in the back, and it's got our Centennial State Limited logo and our the Colorado 150 logo on it as well. So every ticket purchase gets a merchandise bundle. And then we're planning before the event, we're planning kind of like a morning ceremony. And this is where we're getting local and state officials involved, the commissioners involved on the Colorado side, anybody that wants to participate, particularly the friends as well. But we'd like to have kind of just like a welcome ceremony where people greet the passengers, talk a little bit about the history of the railroad, what it means to the Valley and America 250. So we're inviting a bunch of local and state officials to the event. Hoping the friends can have a big presence there as well, whether that's having a booth, or what we're really hoping to do is we're going to be bringing in historians that can serve as history ambassadors, and really just docents on the train, but really kind of just describing again the history of the railroad, tying it to certain sections of the line, but again just keeping it focused on America 250 and CA 150. So again, if the friends have the capacity to help with volunteers, if they want to interact with the guests, answer any questions, that kind of thing, that's kind of what we're hoping for, at least for that event. But so we're really excited about that event and the celebration. As far as July 4th goes, we are still kind of planning the logistics of everything in terms of the menu, what's going to be offered. So unfortunately, I really don't have a ton to offer at this point in time because I'm not ready to be booked or anything. Unfortunately, I just don't have all the specifics right now. So we are meeting, with the team in the next coming weeks to kind of discuss those things and get everything finalized, so that way we can get ready for bookings. So, but it does still plan to be going on as planned, as normal, like it has in the past. So I'm sorry, I don't have any more details beyond that.
No, that's. I mean, not surprising, Robert. You're in the center of the lane for the way the schedules have worked at the Cumbres Toltec for the past 50 years, right? Yeah. We adapt to whatever comes along. I mean, there's been plenty of times when we've gone, where'd the train go?
Yeah.
So great. So Colorado 150, not only is the railroad, but throughout the state, there's stuff going on. Is that all that weekend, or is it spread out over do you know if the other activities are spread out over the summer?
Or the
like Alamosa
or
Great Sand Dunes National Park, or any of the other?
So I'm not, in tune of what's happening around in the region, but I do know, if you go on the Colorado 150 website, there's a ton of events that are happening. As in terms of that weekend that we're running, I haven't seen any similar railroad, activities or anything like that. But unfortunately, I'm not quite sure regionally what's happening. But I haven't seen too many activities being planned for that weekend, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So
I think there will be plenty of stuff. It is stuff that tends to get to show up publicly a little bit later.
Yep.
Real quick, if you don't mind. So it looks like we have an answer to Joe's question about reservations for the weekend, because we don't know yet about reservations for the weekend because those haven't started. But Rob asked a question. Robert, I think you mentioned that on Saturday it was going to be 168 and 463. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Do we know what's going to be running on the Friday on the actual 4th of July?
Let me see if I can. I'm not quite sure. I might look at their schedule real quick and see if the consist has been put up there. So if you want to give me just one quick second, because off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure. So
I thought it was 168 in the historic train set on Friday and Sunday, but I could be wrong.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if I can tell from the schedule. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We could follow up with you on that.
Yeah. We'll make sure that that on both the railroad and the Friends social media pages, and we'll probably post. I assume we'll post to the narrow gauge discussion forums too. I think those trains will be interesting enough to rail fans to make it really worth the trouble. Mm-hmm. What was the other thing, Greg, that was in chat? Was there something else?
I think that Joe asked a question about how ticket sales were doing, but they haven't started yet for that event. So I think that answers that.
Right. Okay. So Billy, the celebrations like this, How does the commission fit into that if you do? I mean, is it just purely a railroad thing, or do you guys help plan that and track down legislators and things to show up?
Well, they'll ask us who we want to invite, and we'll give them a list of dignitaries to invite. As far as the day-to-day planning, again, we don't really get into that. They will ask us what we think, and we might give our opinion or we might not, and we let them run it. This is we don't want to confuse the issue.
That makes total sense. Excuse me. The one of the questions that always intrigues me, and coming from the Friends side, where we were thinking about historic things, about preservation or interpretation. Is there a balance in your mind, Billy? And Robert, you can answer this too when Billy gets through. Is there a balance between tourism, selling tickets, making money, generating revenue, I should say, and the historic, how accurate our historic interpretation is? Do y'all have a line you try to follow there?
I don't know that we have a line that we try to follow. It's a very, very fine balance to juggle, just like converting to oil. That was an extremely hard decision to make.
Right.
Is it historic? No, it's not. Will it help us run on a red flag day or something like that so that we can have revenue? Yes, it will. So it's such a fine line that it's hard to distinguish where do you cross the line, or do you cross the line or not?
Yeah, I think for me, the more historic, the better. I mean, that's why I started coming to the railroad and continue to work and volunteer. But yeah, you got to sell tickets. I mean, Greg and I don't get to play with trains if Robert can't pay the bills. So Robert, what do you think about it? Did you have a different take, or are you?
No, I agree with that. I mean, we are selling. I mean, the bread and butter is selling the authenticity and the historical value of the railroad and what it has meant to the community for so long. I think from a marketing perspective, some of that has been lost. Some of the feedback I've kind of heard of people have kind of forgotten about like the magic of the Cumbres, or I frequently see on social media, it's kind of one of my favorite parts of the job actually, is seeing people post like family memories about the railroad. But some people will say like, oh, I haven't read the train since like 1980. And I'm thinking, wow, you guys need to like come back, or, I haven't read the train in over like 10 years. And so from a marketing perspective, we definitely want to like reconnect with everyone and kind of remind them about the history and authenticity of the railroad. Also balancing, understanding the fact that it is a business, it does need revenue to operate. And so there may be instances where, things may have to be modernized just to be able to operate, I'm not saying equipment or anything like that, but I think there's, as Billy said, you have to pick and choose when to cross the line, but also you want to maintain that authenticity. As another example, as we kind of are looking to kind of update our uniforms, or not really update them, but get uniforms for our staff, we're trying to kind of honor that authenticity. So we're looking into options that are more historically accurate for that kind of thing. So just to kind of, again, convey that historical authenticity is something that's important to us. So, like Billy said, there's a balance there.
I think that's, I mean, Greg, I've talked about this before many times, is what is that balance from the Friends side? We'd always vote for the rivet counter side of the picture, right? We'd always want it to be as historic as possible. But yeah, I mean, the building at Cumbres, the buildings at Sublet down at Lava, those have modern roofs that are intended to look historic. So we make those compromises all the time, make those choices. It's just a matter of how do you feel about that? I think some days.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake
on
up.
Stock cars.
Yeah. I mean, the tank cars, right, that we talked about with Randy here a few weeks ago. There's a ton of really cool stuff, and I think that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure all three of y'all had a chance to comment on. As a docent, I talked to people who are there that are just tourists, didn't know the railroad was here until they tripped over it. Or maybe they heard about it word of mouth at home and came out specifically, but they're tourists. What is that how does that work for the commission and the railroad both? How do y'all think about, I'm going to say, pure tourists, people that don't know anything about history or trains? They're just there for the scenery, maybe? Do y'all have an opinion about that?
I mean, I think that's people, we want to target a wide variety of people, people that aren't familiar with the railroad that are coming by the rail. I mean, what's not to love? Once you ride it once, you're gonna fall in
Right.
love and want to come back. So I think the opportunity is there to grab people that aren't familiar with the railroad. If we can call them tourists or not, but we can kind of see it as an opportunity to kind of grab them, pull them in, and then once they get an experience, they can learn more about the history and learn more about the impact of the railroad, but and have a deeper appreciation of it, and then hopefully they'll turn them to repeat riders. But I think we also want to capture our core audience, so people that know the railroad and have an
Sure.
affinity for the railroad. So I I think that's my opinion of a tourist. I guess we would look at that as an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably your core market. There's lots of tourists in the world. There's
Hmm.
not as many rail fans and not as
Right.
many historians. But for the purposes of the railroad, that might not be the main answer. Billy, talk about this topic from the standpoint of the commission and the two communities, whether it's the tourism and the diners and restaurants and places to stay and all that. How does it work out?
Well, our marketing, our advertising, and everything is geared towards the tourist, um, per se. We don't gear it or market to our avid fans, our rail fans. They're going to come anyway. It's the others that we have to attract by attracting the others to come ride a train that they've never ridden before. Gets them into town, gets them to spend the night, buy food, gas, etc. So um, it's hard to say who's more important, the tourist or the rail fans. The more tourists we can bring, the better off we are. We'll
Yeah,
have the rail fans anyway, or we hope we do. We hope they stick
sure.
with it.
Sure. Uh, one of the guests online, Joe McCarthy, he's asking, Robert, the docents provide the historic background on the train. Have
Mhm.
y'all given any thought to living history events in character and period clothing?
That is something that we've talked about. Not extensively, but as we kind of plan for the season, there's been lots of ideas that have been kicked around, and trying to develop a process of when we have an idea like this, like how to execute the event. So that's kind of like what I've been pushing for since I've come on board. But
Yeah,
the high level talks about certain things like that, just nothing concrete. And we kind of have developed a depository or database of ideas and events and logistics. So high level, we've talked about stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, July 4th, Billy. For those of you who don't know, Billy has handled the fireworks extravaganza in Jama for years. Um, when you plan that event, and then there's Chama Days, and there's other Western Heritage, and all the other things going on. It's sometimes it's felt a little haphazard about how those things fit together. July 4th, the train backs down there and can see the fireworks up close. But these other events, a living history event, or some things we're going to talk about, dark sky trains and special dinner trains and things. Billy, do you feel like those help the villages or those special events, or do they make it harder on the village?
Uh, Anything we can do to bring people to town help.
Okay,
They help the village. So we encourage the events. We will support the events and anything we can do to get people into town.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. Sometimes it seems like we're short of volunteers. I know the Friends are constantly going, "Hey, we could use another 10,000 volunteers." um, how has that played out from the standpoint of how comfortable are you, Billy, with the amount of labor and volunteers and interested peoples in the communities? As a commissioner, do you worry about that?
Historically, it's been, I won't say one or two, but I will say one or two people that do everything. There'll be others. There'll be 10 or 15 people, it's almost always the same people. They will
Sure.
pick up a new person here and there. They'll last a year or so, and then they drop out. But all of the volunteer people, that there's kind of a core group of them that do a lot. And the Rotary, they do a lot. They're volunteer, and we really appreciate the ones that do volunteer. Sometimes they get a thank you, sometimes they don't. It's
Right.
So we appreciate everything that everybody does.
Yeah, I think the sort of shortfall, right, that you're talking about, where there's a core group and then there's some folks that come and go. I think that's one thing we've been really lucky as the Friends. We've got people that have been coming for literally decades, many decades, 30, 40 years, and volunteering. But one of the things we struggle with, Jerry Sullivan, that's online here, is another docent that's been around a while. The actively being on the train or actively being in the yard, that's a pretty small pool of people. Greg spent some time with us this summer at the K36 and the what do you call that little fake bus thing? What is that called? The goose, the galloping goose.
Yeah.
Greg volunteers with them. It is a challenge for all of us, I think. And so for anybody that's online, I know William Beaver's on here and Jerry, anything anybody can do to bring extra help to the table, I think is valuable for all of us, whether it's the CTO or the commission or the Friends. Kathy, you pointed out something else. Oh,
yeah, Tom, real quick, if you don't mind.
No.
I'm not a volunteer for the Goose group. I am a member of the Galloping Goose Society out of Doris.
Do they pay you then, or what?
No, I pay to ride the goose because it's such a great trip. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, Robert, one of the questions come up, the new catering, the new food service. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So our new culinary partner was selected. They are called From the Wagon. They are a chuck wagon outfit from Texas. I forget which city, but so they are kind of still in the early stages of planning everything in terms of finalizing menus. But I meet with them, weekly to go over like our marketing plan. They are going to be arriving here early in May to begin preparations for their setup in Osier. So talking with them a little bit about their menu. They want to go with like Thanksgiving with the Western twist. So they have talked about bringing things back like the turkey breast, green beans, stuffing, mashed potatoes. They do want to do like a salad bar with soups and some vegan options. So while nothing is finalized yet, that's kind of like the direction that they would like to go in. Cool. Then beyond that, they're really kind of, they do have a big social media following. I encourage you guys to check that out. From the Wagon on Facebook. FromTheWagon.net is their website. But they are really looking to elevate the overall experience. So they want to be a little bit more interactive with the guests. They kind of want to, ask, interact with people, ask them, kind of where they're coming from. If there's any celebrations like birthdays or anniversaries or anything like that, they kind of want to celebrate that and offer them like a special like cupcake or something. But beyond that, they kind of want to also make it a little authentic Western experience at Osier. So they kind of want to bring horses and, kind of have an experience where people can, experience the town, I guess you could say, beyond the food. So they're really just we're kind of looking forward to what, they're a natural fit for us in terms of authentic West cooking. They're really all about heritage. So we're kind of excited about the natural fit and the partnership. So
Sure.
Again, they're still in the planning phase. We've got a lot of great ideas for marketing content. They're pretty active on social media. They have 30 years of experience in the industry. I think they've been featured. They've won some awards as well. So
yeah, no, I happened to look and they seem really good. I did talk to somebody back in Texas that said, oh yeah, I know them. They're really good. So
yeah, yep. So yeah, we're really excited, to kind of improve the experience at Osier and yeah.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about the special event trains? You mentioned their chuck wagon kind of Western heritage thing, but that's not really on the schedule yet. What is on the schedule now?
So what's ready for booking is our dark sky trains, and this year we're running multiple dates out of Encino and Chama. So kind of every month, June through October. And the dark sky train is similar to last year's, so they are going to be bringing experts, express rollers on to kind of give
Cool.
people a guided tour around the valley. So pretty much the experience is pretty much the same as last year. It's just that we've added more dates because my understanding is it was quite popular last year.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we rode the first one. Actually, we rode the dinner train
um,
that turned
uh,
into a dark sky train. That was great, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's nothing like looking at a sky full of stars. I mean,
Man, I'm excited to try it, to ride it. I haven't had a chance, so
yeah,
really looking forward
it's
to it.
really dark out at Bighorn, and it's pretty dark
Mhm.
at Cumbres for that matter. But
I've
what
heard,
about the
I've
other
heard,
kinds of trains? There's dark sky.
yeah,
What else?
yep. So we've got ready for booking as the geology train, and again, that's similar to last year as well. I think it's August 30th, so we're 1 day. Now we are running from Encino and Chama. If you are leaving Chama, you're going to take a bus to Encino, and then the train is going to go out of Encino. But I believe it's similar to last year, so it will stop at various places. We are bringing experts on board to talk about the history or the rock formations. So we're
Right.
bringing on local geology experts as well.
Cool.
So again, pretty much the same as last year. In terms of, so unfortunately, that's all that's ready for booking right now. I told you guys about the Centennial State Limited, so that's going as well. We are still planning the open sky trains in July, our dinner trains. Again, nothing concrete yet, but we have dinner trains planned. We have a tap takeover planned in July as well.
A
So
what? A what?
tap takeover train.
What is that? Can you?
I think that's might be a beer train potentially.
Oh,
I'm not quite
okay,
sure,
that makes
but
sense with taps.
yeah,
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 okay.
yeah.
I
Don't
thought
quote
maybe
me.
you were
I'm
teaching
looking at the
dancing on
schedule.
the train or
No, I
something.
mean that could be though. That could be. Open sky dinner train. So again, we are looking at the dinner and wine trains. Sorry, I don't have concrete details yet because I'm not ready for booking.
So
But
the intent is to run dinner trains out of both towns, though, right? So if you're coming from the north, you can do Antonito. If you're coming from Albuquerque, you can do either one, right?
I believe so. Yes. Yep.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Um, Kathy here in the background says, "Don't forget to talk about the regular schedule for the daily trains." Can you?
Yeah.
We've heard lots
So
of things, right? Can you kind of simplify it?
yeah, I'm gonna try to simplify, and if nothing's clear, please let me know. But so the season kickoff is May 23rd to May 24th, and that's normal operations, so full service with daily departures from both Chama and Encino, and we will be running the Cumbres Express that day. So that weekend we will be running two trains at one train from both depots. On our peak, we're calling it peak summer, so that's about May 26th. So as you know, the train does not operate on Mondays. It does operate 6 days a week. So between May 26th and August 29th, we will be running one train out of one depot, and it just depends on the day of the week that it runs. So, for instance, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, the train will be leaving Chama at 10 a.m. On Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, the train will be leaving 10 a.m. out of Manzanito. Nothing's really changing in terms of the service, so you can still go to any depot 6 days a week. It's just depending on the day that the train leaves the depot. You could be starting your day on a scenic motor coach, or you could be starting your day on the train and then take the motor coach back. So on Tuesdays,
Okay.
Thursdays, and Saturdays, if you are leaving Antonito, you're going to leave at 8:30 a.m. on a scenic motor coach to go up to Chama to board the train at 10 a.m. On Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, if you are leaving Chama, you're going to leave at 8:30 a.m. on the scenic motor coach and take the coach to Antonito to board the train at 10 a.m.
So
Let's
that's
see,
that's really that's really the same as what we've done, except you won't meet the
just
other
one,
bus in the morning. There'll be one bus in the
right,
morning or one set of buses in the morning, and
right,
then one
and one,
set in the evening to take people back wherever they started. So that's pretty
right,
much what we've done. It's just one train,
one
instead of
train.
two.
It's one train, and then we are still running the limiteds and expresses as well. So it's just there's on select days during that peak season.
Can you
Uh,
can you tell us the difference between a limited and an
yeah,
express?
Chama Limited. Hang on, sorry
I think
guys.
the limited is just up the hill, right?
Yeah,
Is it?
the limit is to Osier and back.
Okay, I was
Um,
wrong. Okay,
yep,
thank you.
yep. So hang on a second. So yeah, Chama de Cumbres, you take a train from Chama to the Cumbres Pass, and I believe you take the bus back, and it's an hour and 15 minutes. Chama Limiteds are you travel half the distance, so you travel from Chama to Osier, have lunch, and return back. So because the Chama Limiteds or the Chama Expresses, excuse me, were more popular, we're trying to increase the number of rides this year. But it's just they're on select dates throughout the peak season.
So they'd have to get on the website and check.
Yep, yeah.
Is there like a calendar shaped calendar on the website somewhere that kind of has what
Yeah.
trains, what days?
Well, if you go to the website and you go to the book now, yeah, you can search by date. If
Okay.
you the buttons will tell you, like if you click on Chama Limited, you would be able to pick your class of service, and then the calendar will come up,
Okay.
and it'll
Okay.
show you the days that are available to
So
book.
you kind of have to know what you want to do as opposed to I'm going to be there on Tuesday, what's available. It's a
Yeah,
little
well, yeah, I mean, we do want to be able to. That's probably good feedback. We could probably update the website to be a little bit more clear on that, what days each trip's offered, to
right.
kind of give people if they're not quite sure what trip
Right.
they want to plan, we can kind of help guide them there by telling them what offerings are on what days.
Okay.
So
I think that would be I mean that's one of the things that some folks have struggled with is, hey, I'm traveling. I've already got tickets in Durango for Friday. What can I
Mhm.
do on Thursday or Saturday or something?
Mhm.
And it seems a little awkward to figure that out, especially if you're not familiar with the railroad.
Understood.
this is a
Um,
pretty significant departure from previous schedules, going back maybe 10 or more years. What was the thinking behind this new schedule? What's the goal with the new schedule? I'm assuming that boosting ridership is one of our goals. How does this facilitate that goal? And Billy, I assume that the commission was involved in this decision as well.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can maintain our ridership and try to cut our costs down a little bit by offering the short trips and by having the different departures on different days. A lot of people have said, well, you're cutting everything in half. That is not true.
no.
There will always be a train in Chama. There will always be a train in Antonito. It might be coming, might be going. Same amount of people, and hopefully it cuts some of our costs down.
Yeah. I,
Has the ticket sales proven like bolstered that idea that the ridership will be the same or better?
Yeah, so currently we're sitting at over 1,000 riders more than this time last year, and revenue is up over 11% from last year. So we're
Excellent.
yeah, so we're it's an encouraging trend for sure.
Yeah, Eric Mason's on the call. For those of you who don't know, Eric Mason's the president, CEO, whatever his job title is these days. Has a huge amount of experience in lodging and tourism and all kinds of stuff. And he was real clear with me one day that he hopes that over time, not going to happen in the first week, that this is going to develop a much larger proportion of people coming from the Front Range. There's 5.5 million people in Colorado and 2 million people in New Mexico. If we can steal some more of those folks from Colorado, that's all to the good. The other thing too, and I don't know that we talked about it, and Billy, I assume the commission has talked about it, is the fact that these special event trains generate good revenue, and there's more of them than in the past. In the past, we've had a couple of dinner trains. Now we're talking about what I mean. I don't know, between dark sky and geology and the dinner trains, we're talking 10 or 15 special trains at least, right?
Yes, and we're hoping that those, which the geology train seems to always fill up. We used to have
Mm-hmm.
two of them. Both of them were, filled up early.
Yep.
So we know if you build it, they'll come, and hopefully this helps boost our bottom line.
But the nice thing about that longer train, if you come into Antonito and it's got 150 or 250 on it, and then the next day it departs Chama. That's a guaranteed double header for the rail fans.
We've got some questions, and
Yes.
and one of them, I see that there's conversation in the chat about it, which is helpful. But the question is can you clarify the difference between the parlor car and the parlor observation car? And is the difference just that, I shouldn't say just, but is the difference that the observation car is the very last car and has the platform?
That's correct. Yep. So
Okay.
the parlor car is going to be the very last car unless there's a caboose, but it does have the platform at the back. No, there's no change to the service or anything. The parlor car was the formerly premium car. We just changed the name. I believe there was the name change was because the two were very similar, and they felt like there was better way to describe what the car service offerings were. But with it being that the parlor observation was the last car with the platform at the outside.
Okay.
And the other parlor car, whatever we're calling that, the one in the middle, those folks are not going to be able to access the back platform. Is that true, or is that not true?
I'm not.
They can go to their back platform, but not to the back.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a question for Brandy. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Obviously, Chama, Antonito, and Osier are key locations on the railroad for the railroad's history. How might you envision that Cumbre and any other places along the right-of-way can reinforce the history and create additional railroad and tourist draw to the area? And to put this a little bit into context, I think the friends have talked a lot about kind of developing Cumbre as a historic place to visit. And that might tie in with, well, it was a pretty important place on the railroad back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good feedback in terms of from a marketing position of how we can market not just Antonito or Chama, but also Cumbres. We do have the Cumbres Express trip. I think that it would just be a matter of kind of developing a strategy around that, similar to what we do with Antonito and Chama, but maybe positioning Cumbres as a destination, as a historical destination. I mean, I think that'd be a good place to start in terms of how I envision that happening. Would require some planning and thought, but I mean, it's something that we can definitely explore.
Yeah, I think, the friends have talked about this to great length, and Billy and the commission are aware, and I know they're a little skittish about some of the pie in the sky ideas we've had, because everything you build or rebuild or maintain, you got to have insurance for, and that number's a big number already. But I do, riding the train, people ride up from Chama, they get off at Cumbres, the bus takes them home back to Chama. That's a good early short trip. They're done before noon.
Yep.
The folks that get on at Cumbres ride to Osier and ride back. They park their car at Cumbres. Is there opportunity for some other stuff there? Probably so. Whether it's living history or a yard docent that will walk people around before the train gets there. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Don't know how that contributes to the bottom line, though, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, because there would be obviously more expenses based on that. But I mean, it would be worth exploring in terms of, we could garner some, whether it would be of interest, to the audience. How much of a demand would that be? And if there is enough of a demand, I mean, that's absolutely enough it can contribute to the bottom line.
Yeah, one of the things, and Billy, I think you were there the day they read last year, the Indiana Jones bands, the cosplay folks showed up.
That was fun. That was so cool.
They had a blast. Billy, were you down at the yard that day? Did you see all 12 billion of the little guys running around?
No.
They were all dressed as Indiana Jones and whatever the doctor's name, the German doctor that ended up killing herself at the end of the movie. And there was even a little tiny little girl about 4 or 5 that was dressed up as a Nazi. Whatever.
I don't remember that, but I remember the Indiana Jones cosplayers with the whips and the
whips and all the
hats
stuff from
and
the
all
movie,
of that.
right?
Yeah, that was fun.
And I think that maybe there's maybe some opportunities around those special groups. We used to have a group that got on in Antonito. They rode once or twice a year. They were from Creed. They originally called themselves the Shady Ladies because it was all women reenactors, and so over the years they included some guys in that. I think they quit using that name, but they rode as reenactors in essence. They're paying riders, but those trips were wildly more. People were more awake the entire trip. Excuse me. So there may be some things there, and I don't want to, that's stuff for y'all to think about. But
Oh, and Melanie, and Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Wants to know if fireman school is coming back.
Fireman
Billy,
school? I'm not quite sure about that one.
yeah,
Billy, have you heard anything about fireman or engineer school?
It's been talked about, but at this time, it's not going to happen in the near future. It may come back at some time.
Hard to fit it in with everything else going on, huh?
having to have that crew, that extra train crew, a 4-person train crew, is hard to do these days. So
yeah, it is. We
haven't
been the same since COVID.
Yeah.
We got about 3 minutes left. Tom, you're driving the bus, but I was thinking maybe Robert and Billy might we might give them a chance to kind of cover anything that we haven't asked about.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, Billy, you want to start since your B comes before R?
Yeah, first, really appreciate everything the friends do for us. I've said it before, say it again. I don't know what we would do without you. We have a great relationship, and it's just fantastic. We have Eric on board with us. He's got a lot of ideas. We'll see how those ideas play out. This year is going to be interesting. Just thanks to everybody for their support in our endeavors and our experiments and everything else.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on. Great talking to everyone. I just kind of want to say thanks for everything you guys do. Just thinking about how the friends and other people can help us. Generally speaking, we're kind of doing what the Friends has currently been doing, advocacy and amplification. So if there's anything that we, any announcements that we've got going out, you guys are really good about sharing our social posts. If we've got any announcements or special highlights like the 114 paint job, just help spreading the word about things like, we've got the USA Today 10 best voting going on right now. And so looking to, if just kind of if everyone goes to our social media, you can see a link to the page, or we've been sending out emails. I do need to update our website with it, but if just kind of spreading the word about getting people to vote once per day for the best scenic train ride. I think we're currently ranked #1, and we have been since day one. So really looking forward to that. I think there's still several weeks to go, but we want to get that top spot again. I think we were like #3 last year, so it would be really good to kind of work together with everyone to bring that honor home. But also, feedback is really important to us. So, I apologize. Hopefully today hasn't been a little bit more confusing about the schedule, but Eric
it will probably all change tomorrow.
Eric and Steven may have better insights in terms of the reasoning or in terms of consist, what we'll be running. But if you guys are hearing feedback on from guests or the communities that can help us improve, please reach out to us, or let someone from the Friends know. They can contact us. We want to make sure that we are the partnership keeps going and developing a successful partnership, and we all love the railroad and we want it to see it last, and we've got all a common goal and just kind of want to keep working together to build that. And then logistically speaking, I think I mentioned it before, but we'd love the Friends' help at the Centennial State Limited, any other events. Yep. So we can discuss more about that in terms of having volunteers on board, if you guys want to have a booth or some sort of presence at the depot, however that looks. But we really appreciate your support, and looking forward to continue working with you guys.
That's great. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, I will mention one thing, and sort of goes back to what Greg and I have had conversations about. I won't say concerns or issues, because that's not what it is. It's discussion. Eric Mason has made a point in every conversation we've talked about a special event train or the schedule or whatever, is that he's a big fan of experimentation. Let's try it. If it looks like it was close, let's fix it. If it wasn't close, we're not going to do that again. And so I think for those of you who are concerned about the schedule, or just maybe kind of like the old days, these things they're going to try, and if they work out, we're gonna do it again. That's true for the Friends as well. Our policy on charters has changed this year a little bit. We're going to have different activities ourselves. So all good. Billy, one day I asked you a couple of months ago what you thought of change, and what did you say? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
He said it's scary is what the word he used.
Yes.
So yeah, change is good, guys. So don't get distressed about the schedule or anything else. Make suggestions. Robert's always available. Obviously, the commissioners are available. They respond to these topics.
And
Anything
Kathleen,
else?
Yep, Kathleen reminded me that registration is now open for Friends work sessions for 2026.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've got this pretty slick online registration system. So to register for work sessions for 2026, go to the Friends website and it'll all be there.
Yeah. Billy, you're retired now. You can come and work sessions with us, right?
I'm whenever I have time.
I was going to say, is FINA going to let him? I mean,
That's it.
Running a restaurant's a lot of freaking work.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. Yep.
All right. Well, Billy, Robert, thank y'all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully this helps the folks understand the schedule. This will get cut down into a much shorter YouTube video that'll get posted on the Friends site.
It won't be that much shorter.
Well, maybe, but you watch it 2x speed or something if it's too long. But the point is, it'll be there. So if you have questions about the schedule, you can go watch a video and hear exactly what weasel words Robert used when he talked about things.
Weasel words.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
You did. We're going to cut that part.
All right. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great evening. Kathy,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
for joining.
Everyone.
Right.
Have a good
Bye,
evening.
guys.
Bye.